The Summerland kids. Good morning, Jericho.
Good morning, sir. I'm Jericho Wagon. This is Aaron Riggs, and we're Coffee with the Summerland kids, and we're just chatting each morning. This week, we're just doing a little morning chat, drinking coffee, and shooting the you know what.
Man, I put a little too much creamer in my coffee this morning, but it's still very good.
That's good. Yeah, I love that one poem you wrote about. I wake up the first thing in the morning, something like that. That when the coffee hits your lips, I can't exactly remember your words on that, but it was freaking on point.
Oh yeah, I get poetry going sometimes. I just feel it and I write it. And coffee is one of my favorite topics, one of my favorite subjects. I write poems about it. I have me and you, we have a daily coffee
Yeah.
conversation. I recommend everyone try it at least once.
No, for sure. Are you I'm curious, are you do you have a journal? Are you doing old school journaling, or are you writing stuff down in your notes on your phone, or how are you logging your poetry and your writing?
Mostly on the Facebook.
Okay. So
I
you just go
do.
That's cool. You just go in and create a post and just start writing and edit, and then when you feel like you're done, you share it.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, sometimes I just wake up with a thought in my head.
Uh-huh.
One of my favorite ones, it was just a little three-liner, and I posted it, and then I posted it to a poetry group, and everybody started adding little lines.
Oh, nice.
So there's like 5 or 10 other lines that were just kind of added to it.
That's cool. That's a great way to go. We should maybe try to experiment with something like that. Aaron and I started this little thing called Summerland Book. It's essentially Facebook. It's a little private group for our elementary school friends and Summerland, California folks. And so perhaps we should start something like that where people can add to it in comments or something.
Yeah, I tried to start a poetry group or a writing group, but it just never got going. So I found that if you look on Facebook, there's always a group or two that are relating to topics that you might be interested in. And so I started sharing in a small group with like maybe 300 or 400 people, and then I got a couple likes. So I'm like, okay, let's share it to a group with 5,000 people.
Wow.
And some poems get a little bit more traction than others. As a writer, you probably know as an artist,
Yeah.
some of your stuff you're just like, eh, and you put it out there and people are like, no, this is the cool one.
Right.
And then
Yeah.
other stuff you're like, wow, this is the best, and you put it out there and people are like, eh.
For sure, it's amazing. I know on the we have a group here in the little town I'm in, Pagosa Springs, and there's like 10,000 plus people there. Um, and so when the numbers are that high, people are going on there and checking periodically, just checking in to see what's being posted, because it's oftentimes sometimes it might get shared to your personal page, but it's funny how the algorithm works, where on our personal Facebooks we'll put something up, and how it works is there's a certain number of friends that it might actually appear on their page as something that as your friend group, but other people don't see it, unless they visit your page directly.
Yeah, I think that's I guess part of it is the algorithms, like you're saying, with likes. How many of your friends like them?
Uh-huh.
How many of your friends have liked previous posts that have liked with other friends?
Yeah.
Keywords can change that, and then time of day. Like when I was studying social media, and even now that I'm getting into streaming, if you can determine the time of day that people are active and have your posts on social media scheduled, like Saturday morning at 10 o'clock, or
Right.
you have to check depending on your topic, but that does a lot too.
Yeah, I could see that. And what is it? I know that there's one email program called Constant Contact, and it would allow you to choose your time of day that your email goes out. Like when my friend would send out invitations to the events, he would schedule it to where I think he would send out right around lunchtime, so he knows people would be checking their email during lunch, and they would essentially get it. And I guess the program allows you to see how many people opened your email and all that kind of stuff, which is really cool.
Oh yeah, those email systems
Yeah,
are definitely. I mean, if you're doing marketing or like with your events promotion,
yeah,
it makes a big difference.
yeah,
As far as just the name of constant contact, you can stay in constant contact. It's like a friend you got that you haven't talked to in years. You pick up the phone and say, "How you doing?" And their whole life is different.
right. Yeah, it's amazing. I mean, Aaron and I had a huge gap from sixth grade till, just maybe 3 weeks ago. We reconnected after 40 plus years. And thanks to Facebook for that. Without that, we wouldn't have been able to get on and be here right now. So thank you, Mark Zuckerberg, for your odd creation. Have you seen that movie, The Social Network?
Yeah, it's such a trip because it started the whole Facebook. I guess remember MySpace?
Of course, I was on MySpace
Yeah, me too. And it was
yeah,
different. And then Facebook came about and it just really took over because I think, when you're at a college campus, obviously you're going to be like, oh, yeah, who's on the Facebook
yeah.
for school? And then it turns out it goes global
Mhm.
and turns into a marketing. It's just, it blows me away because I mean, when we're kids and we go to school or to a party, we're marketing ourselves, whether we know it or not. You're like, oh, I always remember recess.
Yeah,
It was what kids wanted to play. What are we playing kickball today? Are we playing a vicious dodgeball game?
yeah.
Um, and it's always political, because it's just a bunch of kids out on the playground, and we have to work together to figure out, are we all going to play kickball today or not?
Right. And then we're getting I remember us like being up against the wall, and then we go through that process of picking teams. Do you remember picking teams for baseball and stuff?
Yes.
Yeah, that was classic. We played soccer, baseball. We did some flag football. Do you remember flag football?
I remember I played Little League.
Okay,
I
okay.
don't remember it so much at the school. I think we played
Yeah,
touch. It was a cross between touch and tackle.
right. This is all at Summerland school. I think they had these little belts you can put on with Velcro. You could yank off the flag off the person's waistline or something.
Okay, I think the teacher would bring those out every now and then and be
Yeah,
more
exactly.
of an organized teacher,
Right.
organized rather than here's the balls, play, kids,
Yeah.
play.
It's almost like what wasn't popped, what ball wasn't popped would be the ball we could play with or something, um, as if there was some, or maybe it's just like the kids, unanimously would vote or feel so inclined to play soccer for weeks on end or something. Remember the balls going over the fence? Remember that?
Yes.
Yeah. So we'd have to go get the yard duty teacher and have him come and watch us so someone could go retrieve the ball. Yeah.
That was funny.
It was funny, man. I mean, I don't think I can't recall really ever hitting a ball over the fence myself, like a baseball, but I know some kids probably did. Um, I remember Dan Taglis and of course Sean Durrell. Those guys were really good. It felt like they were really good at sports.
Yeah, there was always a couple handful of kids that were always picked first.
Right. Exactly.
I think I was usually picked in the first half playing football just because of my size.
Right.
But because of my size, I was kind of clumsy. I still am.
Mhm.
So some more like soccer and stuff. Maybe I was on the second half of being picked because I wasn't so fast.
Right. Yeah, that was amazing. I mean, I got to hand to those teachers for getting us, what we giving us what we had, and then I think because we were like a partner school with Main School or another, because we were a part of the Carpinteria School District, although we were a Summerland school, so we would get the little kickbacks from the larger school, and perhaps that's where they got the gear and stuff for us to play with.
Yeah, I remember. Oh, gosh, it was so because they had the library, was the cafeteria, was the nurse's office, was the aide's office. They had the printer machine all in the one little room.
Yeah, exactly. I totally remember like checking out books and just being stoked on that stuff. That
Yeah, it was it always blows me away how our conversations always seem to spark little memories that I forgot about. Grandma's.
Yeah, and I'm trying to think right now. Like, well, of course, I mean, I remember when we first. I can't actually I can't remember my first bicycle, but I know that we at some point we graduated to riding bikes, and then having bikes be on the bike rack at school, and then riding home from school, and all that.
Yeah, because I remember my mom got me a Schwinn. She's like, "This is the best bike, Schwinn,
Yeah.
Schwinn." And but back in the day, I remember there was the new bike frames were coming out,
Uh-huh.
and I ended up riding a 10-speed, and I flipped the handlebars up backwards, and I could like ride a wheelie forever.
Oh wow.
I could like literally put it in a certain gear with handlebars up, and I could pop a wheelie on that bike and almost just ride it like a unicycle for almost stop and turn, and not
Yeah.
anymore.
I think I remember. I remember you remember that kid. That kid, Lupe was that his name?
Yeah, Lupe was like 3 doors, 3 houses, 4 houses down from me.
Yeah, and I kind of vaguely remember him having like a almost like a lowrider bike. Like somehow he had to. He was like maybe mimicking his older brothers or something, because we definitely had the super cool lowrider style. Almost even in like elementary school, it was almost like he was like a totally like young little gangster or something like that.
No, I remember he had it was either older brothers or older cousins,
Right.
and so he always seemed like a step ahead when it came to fixing or working on the bikes or the style.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. Like it was almost like he had that T-shirt, like the wife beater they call it, like the little like you know little old school T-shirt, white T-shirt, and then like khaki pants or something. You know.
yeah, I remember Lupe, man. That was
Yeah.
a cool kid. I wonder what he's up to these days.
I know it's just it'd be incredible. Those families, they were like pioneering that little neighborhood, and those houses eventually became, I think, antique shops or something along that line. You know.
Yeah, a couple houses.
Yeah, our little town became like essentially like antique stores became like the thing, the draw for our little town or something.
Yeah, I remember. I forget what year it was. This was maybe 10 or 15 years back. I stopped into town, and there was a little art festival
At the post office.
at the post office and kind of
Yeah.
behind the liquor store.
Yeah.
And it just
You
I
nailed it,
remember, I
man.
remember, there was always something going on at the post office. The post office was like the little center town square, the
Yeah.
kids fair. I forget what else, the book fair, whatever little parade started there and stuff.
Yeah. And I just remember at the end of the school year, they would do the was it uh was it parents versus the kids, or somehow the adults got to play with us somehow. Like it was maybe as a combo of like adults and kids playing together, or was it kids versus adults? Do you remember that?
I remember the softball games,
Yeah, the softball game. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah.
and I remember the sandwich guy, Lucky, he had this underhand pitch that was sky high.
Oh wow. Okay.
He'd
Yeah.
shoot it way up straight in the air, and it'd come and hit the plate, and it was like he was the pitcher for the one team. I remember that.
Yeah. I think it was called the Summerland Slugs. You know, they
Yeah,
actually had
something like that.
they had a serious softball league for adults actually at some point. So Summerland had its like ebbs and flows of the community activities, you know. But yeah,
Yeah, yeah. That's that's what we were kind of talking about, as far as the Summerland book,
yeah,
get because in a sense, it's a smaller community, and I know everybody's got artistic stuff, and I've been taking your little pen drawings and
yeah,
tagging them, if you will.
yeah,
Uh,
for sure. That's
so I
awesome.
don't know. I guess this is a shout out to the Summerland group. If you see that and go to Image Flip or something like that, um, it's kind of a fun thing. And then we were also talking, I think yesterday, about possibly doing ad lib stories.
Yeah, I love those things as a kid. I mean, we would like sit in a circle, like you were saying. They would break off a grade because it was like fourth, fifth, and sixth in one room. So the sixth graders would have their own independent study or something, and break us off in a separate group, and we'd work on our stuff. And I definitely remember you being good at math and having that pretty wired. You know, you were like Aaron came pre-wired with numbers. You know, his savvy with numbers to pull it off, and I couldn't comprehend it. You know,
It's weird because I have to credit my mom with that.
wow,
She took me to preschool, and I remember the ABCs and the one, two,
right,
threes and stories, and two and two is four, four and four is eight.
yeah, that's
And
awesome.
it's a trip because when you're a kid, you're just a baby. It's just all entertainment.
Right. Okay. Yeah. But then you realize it later on, it kicks in.
Yeah, I think it's a trip though because like everybody, I was good at math. I always thought, wow, Jericho's so good at drawing or surfing, something that I couldn't
Yeah.
do. And it's like everybody's got their special little talents, I think.
No, for sure. And I guess it's you got to hand it out for our teachers to see those our little special cool things that we could do, and then encouraging that creativity or encouraging us to go in the different directions that we felt we wanted to go in our life. You know.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I got a shout out to the viewer. We got a live viewer on Twitch today.
Nice.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Uh,
I got to get on Twitch. Tell me a little more about Twitch. Is it like how's the interface? How's the format? Is it like can you go and put in a subject like soccer and then watch Twitch soccer stuff, or is it gaming, or what's the deal with Twitch?
it's kind of similar to this. Um,
Okay.
it's kind of similar to YouTube.
Okay, similar to YouTube. Nice.
So basically, it's you go into Twitch and you can watch people that are live.
Okay.
So there's different categories. Like I think it started out as a gamer platform because I think that's just what it started out as. So a
And
lot of people,
that's a smart way to go. What is it? Gambling and and freaking porn. They push the industry like they're on the cutting edge essentially. So Twitch is really like a cutting edge platform. Do you know who owns it?
no,
Yeah, it's definitely gamer centric though, right?
I have to look that up now because my girlfriend told me yesterday. She's like, "Oh, you guys are talking about the founder of Summerland, but don't know it. You should
Yeah,
put that in your thing."
I know. We got to nail that down. I was thinking to myself just a little bit ago, um, sort of on the to do list is load in all of the as much history as possible to the page. I've
It
collected
looks
some.
like Amazon purchased Twitch.
Oh, okay, interesting. It's a viable thing that they see as a legit platform, and it's probably I would imagine the age is probably like teens to 20 strong, 30 years old. That age group.
I haven't done the demographics, but it's a
Yeah.
trip because there's like categories. So you got your like we do podcasts and talk shows, and then just chatting. So those are
Okay.
the two categories that I kind of put us in, because we're just
Yep.
chatting and we're
Yep.
kind of doing a podcast. But then
Yeah.
if you go and click when you start your stream, if you click to play a game, you can play the game, and everyone sees the game you're playing. So that's really a popular thing. In fact, for me, I play some games that could get Risk will suck you in for an hour. And my
Wow.
girlfriend didn't like it because I'd ignore her for an hour, hour and a half straight, focused on this game. And it started just bugging me. And so I just started watching the gamers because I could pause the video.
Yeah.
I get my
Wow.
wrist fix while just watching it. And so I think that's funny because I was watching Fluffy
The comedian.
Iglesias, Gabriel Iglesias, right? Fluffy.
Yeah.
And he's doing this thing where he's doing this joke where he tells his son, well, why are you watching the people play the game? Why aren't you playing it? And his kid says to him, well, gosh, Dad, why do you watch NFL football? Why aren't you out there playing the NFL football?
That's a good point. Classic. Exactly. That's cool. So you're probably doing that on your laptop, right?
I do it on my tablet,
Oh,
actually.
okay. Oh, nice. That's cool.
So when I
Yeah.
go live on site, is what I call it, on site, I got to use my tablet because I can't get the restream. And so
Okay.
I just got the Twitch on my tablet. I can go
Oh,
live
nice.
cameras, or I can go live with the game.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I got to check it out. It sounds like I'm curious to see what it's all about, as well as of course I'm on Facebook and Instagram, and my Instagram is Jericho 101 Jerico 101. That's my Instagram. But lately I've been more active on Facebook. I know it's sort of, I guess Facebook is old fashioned or something. At one point years ago, I was at like a little family lunch with my cousins and stuff, and they're like, Facebook's for old people. I'm like, what? Like, well, I guess we got aged out
Yep.
at some point because the kids had moved on to, you know, Snapchat and TikTok, and I don't even think TikTok was out yet, but now TikTok is freaking huge.
TikTok
Yeah,
is huge.
and I haven't jumped on there yet. Are you on TikTok?
I did it for a while.
Did you participate with like yourself live, or were you just checking out reels, or what, that whole trip?
I think I did a couple little short
that's
bits.
cool. Yeah, I mean, it just seems like I know that there's like that it runs the gamut as far as the variety of content is across the board. It's people are taking it serious. People that are making soap or cooking shows or whatever they feel, they just really, I guess it's enabling the users to really take themselves to another level.
Yeah, the different format. I think the short format really changes it, makes it a lot easier to where, YouTube or whatever, if you don't have a 10-minute or 15-minute video, you're like, oh, but TikTok, you got what, 10 seconds, 15 seconds? It's like the difference between, I guess, Facebook and Twitter, where it's a shorter format.
Just the like, are you on X?
I haven't logged in. I did have a Twitter account back in the day that I just never really got into it.
I definitely see its value, and it's to essentially see I guess you could say a little more up to date. If someone's very active on it, they would just be, I'm just imagining if someone was like someone I was trying to go visit and they were doing an event, they would probably be posting live updates to X or something. I guess that's what they would be doing.
Well, that's the whole thing. I mean, as far as like the social media stuff that I studied, you can make that one content, and now you can put it in different places in different ways. Like we could take our 30-minute discussion and maybe find, a couple 1 minute segments to put up
Oh,
to
I see.
TikTok, or 30-second segments to put up to YouTube Shorts or Facebook
Oh, yeah,
Reels.
that's incredible. That's cool. Do you edit ever? Do you ever do any editing? You used to?
I
Okay,
used
that's
to.
cool.
I guess part of my philosophy is just there's there's just so much stuff that comes out in the organic
Absolutely,
conversation
I agree.
that there could be clips taken out, but I really do think for context, the whole
I
conversation is
agree. I
better.
agree. In this, especially where we're at with, props to Restream for creating this format. Do you think Restream started before Zoom, or is it a offshoot of Zoom or something like that?
Once these things get made, it's really easy
I
to
see.
copy or make something real similar. I like Restream just because I read some reviews. I could go to two different platforms
Okay, that's
without
cool.
paying. And then if I ever get big enough to where, oh wow, I got a YouTube check or a partner check from Twitch or something, then yeah, I could see paying the extra. That way one stream automatically goes to YouTube, Twitch, Facebook, Kick,
Yeah,
Twitter, all these other platforms, to where that's where I think
yeah.
when
When
you're
you're marketing,
marketing,
yeah,
you know, it makes a lot of sense to edit and multi-platform when it's just two
yeah.
buddies
This is a
chatting.
great format. I gotta thank you for that. Did you did when let's say Apple computers first came out? I mean, did you find yourself when we were in our 20s? Were you active on computers in your 20s?
I studied computers since
Okay, yeah. So you
grammar
were on it.
school.
That's cool.
So we were
Yeah.
introduced to computers. Um, I think I don't remember if we had one, but I know we took some classes
Okay.
um, in that
Right.
program I was in. And then when I moved to San Luis Obispo, the one of the older kids, one of the eighth graders, his dad
Oh,
was into
nice.
computers. So his dad donated like
Oh,
4 or 5
rad.
computers. So they were Apple
Nice.
II Plus, and I think they got one Apple IIe, and it was a class, and this eighth
Oh,
grader
wow.
taught
That's
it.
incredible. So yeah.
And so yeah, back in the days, the game was called
Okay.
Road Runner.
Wow.
So yeah, so by the time I was in high school, I didn't take computers, but I had access to them.
Because of your friend.
Um, but really, we
Yeah,
would just
that's
play
cool.
games
You
on
you
them.
were like essentially like, I mean, first generation gamer. I don't even know if that's a thing, but that's, to me it is. It's like for us, we were, we talked about the State Arcade in Santa Barbara, and how we all gravitated toward the arcades once they became popular and video games essentially started. For us, when we were like, we were 12. I was 12 years old in 1982, and I think it was similar for you.
Yeah, I mean, we were the generation where that first Pong
Yep.
system came out. We had
Yep.
ColecoVision, Atari. This was
Yeah,
pre-Nintendo
that like
days.
when they were bringing it to the home, like what is it called, home gaming systems.
Yeah, I remember one friend of mine. They had the Apple
Uh huh.
3600 or 2600, or not the
Okay.
Apple, the Atari. So it was an Atari game system. It had Atari game cartridges, but it had a keyboard and it had kind of the full
Wow.
computer. And then another friend of mine, they had the Macintosh when it
Nice.
first came out, the little box,
Yeah.
all in one.
Wow.
Um, I'm trying to think of I think I had a 98, Windows 98 was my first
Okay, that's
machine.
cool. Yeah, when it became like portable or just like a home based computer system, and then of course I remember AOL and I remember dial up and all those funny noises the dial up would make when you're trying to get into the system or something, and then of course the what is that called, doom scrolling or something, when it just when oh the little
AOL.
circle waiting, you know. So yeah, wow.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, the whole AOL dial-up. Then they had the
Yeah,
DSL, and then I was doing the cable TV when they kind of really did the big push for the
right.
broadband. So now it's cable modems. Everybody's got. If you don't have broadband, I remember we would go to work. I'd go meet up with my friend and we'd pick a bunch of music, put it on the Napster, go to work, come home, and there'd be like 5 or 6 songs downloaded.
It was that slow. Yeah, that's how long it took.
So he had his machine running constantly 24 hours a day, downloaded music files back, MP3
Wow,
players were a big thing.
Yeah, I missed that that little small, those tiny little Apple devices that held music. I never did that, you know. Did you do that with the little headphones and the small little, you know?
I didn't get my
iPod.
first
iPod, right?
iTunes iPod until like the 3rd generation, and I got a 1st generation one at a yard sale for
That's
cheap.
awesome. Yeah. Well, that's our show pretty much, Aaron. We did another show, man. Cheers to
30 minutes. Awesome.
nailing it.
I mean, I can't believe we're gonna have a daily conversation revolving around coffee, but I can believe.
This is Coffee with the Summerland Kids. I'm Jericho Wogan, and this is Aaron Riggs. And Aaron's in California. I'm in Colorado. And we're just having our coffee and chatting about the good old days of Summerland Elementary and beyond.
Yep. I guess I was going to do a promo, but I decided
cool.
not.
Yeah.
They know
Aaron
where
and I are both creative individuals, and we're just sharing topics as we go, and it's unscripted and live. And here we are. So thank you guys for joining us today. Appreciate you, Aaron, for all you're doing and your technical savvy. Cheers to that, man.
Awesome. I'm going to press the button to end the stream.
Have a great day.
Have an awesome day.